Ireland is still in the business of allowing dependents reside in the country, okay? Ireland is still one of those very few countries that will still let you bring your dependents from wherever they are to come to Ireland and actually live, alright? In today's video, I'm going to be telling you about the people that are eligible to actually come in as family dependents, what you need to do, the kind of stamp you're going to be on. Are you allowed to work or are you not allowed to work? The advantages of bringing your dependents into the country. All of this information is in today's video. So if this is the kind of video that interests you, then please do keep on watching. So just a short introduction. Hi guys, my name is Ria. If you're seeing me for the very first time, you're highly welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. What's up G? How are you guys doing? I get a couple of questions from people saying, am I allowed to come as a dependent? If I'm coming to work, can I bring my family? If I'm coming to school, can I bring my family? In today's video, we'll be answering all of your burning questions concerning dependents in Ireland. The intention of the immigration services when considering family dependent application is to allow family members to reside together in Ireland as a family unit. So Ireland is one of the countries that do promote family units. You may be considered to be a family dependent if number one, you are 18 or you're 16 years. Number two, if you're under 23 years and you're in full-time education. Number three, if your sponsor is an Irish national or a person married to an Irish national or an Irish resident holder of a stamp 1, a stamp 4 or a stamp 5. You could also be considered as a family dependent if you live together with your sponsor as a member of the family unit. And the last one, if you do not normally live separate or apart on a permanent basis. So you definitely do have to be living together to prove, okay, that we are a family. So let's talk about the categories of people that will be eligible to sponsor a family member, subject to meeting all the criteria and having all the sufficient funds in their account, okay? So the very first category will be researchers, people that are under a hosting agreement. That gives you a stamp 1, okay? It's different from critical skills, but it's more like critical skills because you only need 2 years as well. So if you have a family member that is under stamp 1 here, as a researcher under a hosting agreement, then they are eligible to bring their family member, okay? The second category will obviously be people under critical skills as well. Another category would be PhD students. I know people always ask, if I come to Ireland to school maybe for my master's or my bachelor's, can I bring my family here? So the answer to that question would be no, you cannot bring your family here under a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, but you can definitely bring your family here under a PhD degree. Another category would be scholarship program students from other countries, and then the last category would be level 8 honors degree and above students who can prove their academic achievements. So now I'm just going to be reading from here the eligibility scheme, okay? So to be eligible for this particular scheme, you need to meet the following conditions. Number one, if you require a visa to travel to Ireland, you must have been granted an Irish D joint family visa before coming to Ireland. And let me also put it out there that aside from researchers and critical skills, I think even under the general employment permit and even down to healthcare assistance, now because the salary band has been increased to 30,000 euros from the 17th of January, which also puts them on the same category as people who are eligible based out of funds. If you get what I'm trying to, I'm not putting the grammar well, but if you get me. So all I'm trying to say is that even general employment permit, even careers down to healthcare assistance now can actually come to the country, can actually bring a family. But I don't know if you can bring a family from the start, but what I know is that you can actually work here, and then maybe after like a year, then you can apply for your family to come to the country. The second eligibility is that you must be the dependent family member of a sponsor. That is like an Irish national or a person married to like an Irish national or a person living in Ireland with either a stamp 1 or a stamp 4 or a stamp 5 permission, okay? The third eligibility is if your family member is the holder of a stamp 2 or a stamp 3 Irish permission, they do not qualify as sponsors. That's because a stamp 2 is a student visa. You cannot bring someone under a student visa except you're doing your PhD. And for stamp 3 is basically like a partner visa, and this particular stamp does not let you work in the country except you get an employment permit, and then you now have to change your stamp to a stamp 1, okay? So if you're under the stamp 3, you still cannot sponsor anybody because you're not allowed to work. So where are you getting the funds from? The other eligibility is that your family member or your sponsor must be able to support themselves and any dependents without any help from public funds. So they also need to see that you're not at any point going to rely on the government for any help whatsoever. Another eligibility is the fact that you must be a person of good character. So they kind of do like the whole police vetting, Ghana vetting internationally, and also here as well. You kind of need to submit a certificate that states that you're of good character, and also references as well for maybe your place of work. Things to actually note for this particular application. Okay, the first one is that there's an application form that needs to be filled. It's a 17-page document. You need to actually fill the application form because you're going to be submitting it when you're applying for your visa. Okay, I'm going to leave the link to that particular application form in my description box, and also the link to this particular news as well in my description box, so you should definitely do check that if you haven't. The second one to also note would be the application takes about 6 months. Okay, but I know people that have gotten there in like a month or like 2 months, but just best believe, prepare your mind that your application could actually take 6 months before you get a decision. The third thing to note is the type of permission given would actually be dependent on the status of the sponsor. Another thing to note is that if your sponsor is like an Irish national, or like your spouse is like an Irish national, like the person has an Irish passport, you as a partner will be given straight a stamp 4. So when they give you a stamp 4, which is very good, you don't have to look for like an employment permit now to be able to work in the country. You can just do that. You're now by proxy a permanent resident. That's only if you're married to like an Irish national. Okay, but if you're married to someone who is under like stamp 1 under the researchers for hosting agreement, you'll be given a stamp 1G. Okay, stamp 1G still allows you to work. Okay, but now if you're married to someone who is under the general employment permit, like maybe a healthcare assistant, you're given a stamp 3, and stamp 3 does not allow you to work. Okay, what you would do would be to look for a job that is able to sponsor you, and then you change your employment permit, and then you're now on stamp 1, and then you're allowed to lawfully work in the country. Another thing to note, which they take very seriously here, is that if you're going to be eligible, you need to show that you've been living under the same roof with your spouse or your husband. Let's say like you were in Nigeria and your spouse is here and they're trying to bring you over. You kind of need to attach things like your rent bills, your gas if you pay for that, internet bills, anything that connects, or maybe like a document showing that you both have been living in that particular house, and also things like maybe your wedding pictures. You would get a lot more information if you check the link in my description box. Okay, but I hope I've been able to answer this question and kind of clear some doubts on people not knowing what to do and how to go about, you know, family independence in this country, in Ireland. Okay, just to summarize and to conclude, you can actually bring your family dependents via school, but only if you're a PhD student. A bachelor's degree or master's degree holder cannot sponsor a family member to come and reside here in the country. And if you have a family member who is under a stamp 1 as critical skills or researcher, definitely they can also sponsor you as well. Even general employment permits can sponsor you, but there will be a difference in the stamp or the permission that you're given. Some you'll be allowed to work in the country, and some others you'd have to find a job that, you know, gives you an employment permit to actually work in the country. And also the documents that will be needed for this particular application: the first one will be your identity documents, the second one will be a full private medical insurance, another one will be evidence of applicants of relationship with your sponsor. You definitely have to put in a lot of evidence to show that you both are actually together, evidence of residence in the state, and evidence of current activity of sponsor in the state. So what your sponsor is doing, where is he working, where is she working, her pay slip, his pay slip, just everything, your GNIB card. All these documents are actually linked down in a particular link if you check the description box. Okay, and I hope I've just been able to do like a little bit of justice and, you know, answer this dependence question that I really hear or get asked every time here. So if you have any questions, if something wasn't clear to you, leave it down in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer everyone as fast as I can. Okay, and that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you so much guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a very huge thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe down there below. Okay, my name is Ria, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye guys.